Hi, I'm Haley Mills, the podcast producer for Integration Nation. In this new mini-series, Allison is going to talk about mindfulness-based concepts to provide you with additional insight into tools that will help you do the identity work that we talk about in our full-length episodes this season. And I will touch base with everybody afterwards to sum up what Allison talked about and to give you a heads up on what to look forward to in the upcoming episodes as we expand on the idea of identity.
Hi, I'm Allison Sullivan, a licensed clinical social worker, psychotherapist, and you're listening to Integration Nation, a podcast that introduces you to and expands your knowledge about effective, integrative mental health concepts, practices, and approaches. In the spirit of that, we are introducing a new mini-series on mindfulness-based principles. Mindfulness is a really important part of integrative mental health care. And we teach mindfulness-based skills in our individual sessions and in groups all the time. So we are going to pull out several really key components of mindfulness-based practices and do little mini podcast episodes about them. So today's episode in part one of the series is about self-inquiry. Self-inquiry really has ancient meditation and Eastern philosophy history attached to it. It's based in the essential idea of who am I? It really seeks to kind of deepen our awareness of self in connection in the present. And it kind of asks the question of, really, who am I? When people start to practice self-inquiry, it really is about a simple turning inward of attention and curiosity towards that question, who am I? And how do I know that? When we do this, we begin to notice aspects, layers, sides of self, or pieces of a narrative we've been telling ourselves about who we are and what that means. So there's a really classic story that I think explains why self-inquiry is so important. It's the story of the elephant. 3 people who happen to be blind come upon an elephant. One reaches out and touches the trunk and says, "Oh, an elephant is like a thick snake." Another finds the tail of the elephant and says, actually, it is like a rope. And the third person holds on to the elephant's leg and says, "No, actually, it's like a tree trunk." I mean, all of them are in part accurate and also really disconnected from the more cohesive whole of the experience. So self-inquiry is a practice, helps us dismantle those fixed ideas of who we are that disconnect us from the larger sense of our reality within ourselves and with other people. It has endless opportunities for self-discovery. Okay, so now that we know a little bit about what it is, what is a practical starting place? Well, I think simply taking 10 to 15 minutes on a regular basis in a meditative way to ask yourself the essential questions of, who am I? What am I? Where am I? Is a really important and fruitful place to start. Many times when people start there, they find themselves answering those 3 questions of who am I, what am I, and where am I, with answers like, well, I am me. I'm a person. I'm here. If you, when you start this practice, find yourself answering similarly, then the next step is to ask yourself, who is me? What is a person? Where is here? As you may be starting to see, the depth of the inquiry is really limitless. So one more point before we go. You may be asking yourself, isn't this all really dumb mental gamesmanship that really doesn't fix my problems? That's a fair question. And on the surface, I can see where many people would initially think that. However, the point is actually that it can completely change our lives in a fundamental way, especially over time, because it unsticks us from what we think are the unchangeable realities of who we are and what is happening. And it opens us very literally to the plane of possibility, which changes everything. Thanks so much for joining us today. We value you and your time and want to meet you where you are. Please contact us with your comments and questions on our website, allisonsintegrativehealth.org, and please consider leaving us a rating and review. It helps us to expand access to these important topics.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Integration Nation. As a reminder, this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for care from a licensed therapist or other healthcare professional. We're going to continue to explore and discuss with our guests throughout this season how to integrate our experiences, the roles that we take on, and the unique aspects of ourselves in developing and making sense of our identity across time. Our upcoming episodes will be featuring international and local experts on gender, professionalism, and other important aspects of our identity. Listen to more episodes surrounding these concepts and integrative mental health at allisonsintegrativehealth.org.